Welcome to Bespoke Words and to the What Happened Next stories, in which we take 19 well-loved Bible stories and ask ourselves the question, what happened next? Let's jump in.
Episode 10, A Lifetime of Shame. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him, and was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger, because there was no guest room available for them.
That was a reading from Luke chapter 2, verses 4 to 7. Jerusalem was a city awash with holy sites. There were stones dressed by Nehemiah, others selected by Solomon, and the great temple itself. For a canny salesman, there was always money to be made from a brush with the holy. Even the smallest connection was enough to guarantee an income. In Bethlehem, it was not the same thing at all. It was a small place with very few claims to fame which could rival its majestic neighbour. Anyone who found such a thing would exploit it for all it was worth. In fact, not everyone, it would seem. Abel and his family had run a tavern in this part of town for generations. It was an unassuming place, but known for its simple food and warm welcome. Many of the guests were regulars who would come back year after year whenever their travels brought them this way. There were 3 rooms for overnight stays, together with one for Abel and his wife. Out the back was a lean-to store where the amphorae were stacked, and beyond that an animal house with a manger and some tired-looking straw. That's where the problem lay. Of course, for many years it was dangerous to talk of the little life which had started there and the visitors who came and went. When the madness had died down, though, it would have been fine. Any one of Abel's neighbours would have roped off the animal house, charged people to look at it, and then had a stonemason enclose it with the money which came rolling in. Over time, Abel could have stopped serving meals and pouring drinks. His grown-up children could have taken the other 3 rooms and looked after him into his old age. He would not do it, though. He seemed to want to make others comfortable, even at cost to himself, and would do so until God took his last breath. Sometimes, when the food was good and comforting and the red wine had flowed, people would get him to talk about that night. All at once, the face of the smiling host would darken. His booming voice would drop to a hoarse whisper, and he would hang his head as an old and unwelcome visitor stalked from memory to lips. Its name was shame. Try as he might, he could not erase the shame that he had slept that fateful night in his warm bed whilst the Messiah of God had nestled under the rarely changed straw outside. Would anyone ever remember him without dismay? Would there be room for a little compassion, he wondered, whenever his tale was told? You know, the innkeeper's become a sort of 2-dimensional part in any nativity play, hasn't it? And you can have as many of them as you like. And there they are, opening the door or not, depending on whether they're innkeeper number 1 or innkeeper number 6. But all of that joking aside, wouldn't it gnaw at you to know that you could have had the Messiah of God under your roof and you shoved them into the stable instead? I think we should pray, don't you? Dear God, everyone listening to this has made mistakes and done things which we would rather undo. I pray that we might find forgiveness from you and for ourselves today. Amen. If you've enjoyed this story today, you can buy the whole collection of 52 stories under the title What Happened Next? Ripple Effects of Bible Stories, published by Authentic Media and available from all good bookshops or e-tailers.